The year 2024 was not a very good gaming year for me. My graphics card broke down, so I had to return Baldur's Gate 3 because I couldn't play it on my PC. I don't know if I go back to it later. Overall, there was not many games that I was looking forward that much. I guess I had a little bit of a gaming fatigue, but I did complete few games and I have a lot of good things to say about them, so let's begin. When Final Fantasy VI released on the original Super Nintendo, it was an adventure never seen before. I didn't remember anything about most of the game because when I played this first time it was on original Super Nintendo. The story, atmosphere and characters have all aged perfectly. Only thing about the graphics that bothered me was that same red boiler in every single building. The classic opera scene was completely remade and the singing of Celeste's real voice this time was beyond expectations. The difficulty of the original game, especially the final dungeon, was brutal. In the remastered version you can ramp up experience and guild multipliers to 4x, so it only took me plus 20 hours to complete the main story. I did have to grind a lot in the final dungeon and I didn't find all the main characters because I didn't want to look up anything online. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is my game of the year. It continues the story from Midgar all the way to the end of CD1 of the original. There's obviously a lot more stuff compared to the original, new characters and a very long, interesting journey. It tells a lot more about the characters than the original. There was also some sections that I could have done without, like for example the boat trip to Costa del Sol, which was mostly about playing the mini card game. This didn't need that much mini games in my opinion. At least the Moogle House minigame is way too repetitive. I think I spent about 80 hours or so completing huge portion of the side content. The repetition of the side content reminded me of endless Ubisoft style of bloatedness. I stopped doing the repetitive side quests after the third map section. I did most of the unique NPC given side quests. I can also imagine some people didn't find the final boss very fun because the difficulty curve ramps up ridiculously high. I barely beat it after several tries, even if I spent significant amount of time doing the side quest and progressing my characters. I'm already looking forward to the final part of this remake, even if it had all the repetitive side content. I will try to do them. I will spend 100 hours playing the last part of the remake if I have to. Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion is a remaster of the 2007 original release. This is a story about Zack, Shinra soldier, and tells a little bit about the story from Shinra side. It's also part of Aerith story. Aerith becomes Jack's girlfriend, which a modern audience already knows from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. After completing the game I was thinking I should have played this back when it was released. It would be best to start Final Fantasy VII trilogy from here because these are the first events. It would have made Zack much less mysterious and confusing later on. This game was released only on PlayStation Portable PSP, so that's why many people, including myself, missed it. I wish that it was made into a complete modern remake like what they are doing to Final Fantasy VII, and who knows, maybe it will be. About the gameplay, it began a little bit sluggish for me. I had just completed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so the voice acting here didn't sound so good at first, but soon enough it was just okay. The leveling and bonus system in combat is literal slot machine. Sometimes it hits 777 and then Shag gains level. I think it fits this game well because it's really story heavy, story driven. Gameplay is mostly just boss battles and optional but recommended side missions. The difficulty ramps up if you just try to run through the main story without leveling up anything. Graphics are pretty flat because it's just a remaster, but I think that characters likely had a lot more detail and it didn't look bad at all. Of course, I never played the original, so I couldn't directly compare them. It was difficult for me to find much to say about Sea of Stars. It has a relatively simple story and decent characters. I would describe it as a modern version of an old school RPG. One of its best aspects is that it has some real-time gameplay elements within its turn-based battles. Difficulty is among the easiest of all the JRPGs. No need to grind, and I game overed maybe 3 times, once in the very beginning of the game and in the end game boss battles. The game does have a good amount of side content. I also heard that it's about to get a free of charge story DLC. First thing I wanna say about Dragon's Dogma 2 is that it's easier to do bad and normal ending. I did them around level 36, but if you wanna do the true ending, that involves playing the endgame unmoored world, which would be more comfortable if you have played more than just the main questline and leveled up your characters quite a bit. The unmoored world itself is not that difficult, but it has a time limit, and I tried it and I just ran out of time. And if that happens, you lose all your progress. So this game has some really stupid mechanics that just wastes hours of your time. I can't understand why did they do it like this. I never played the original Dragon's Dogma, but because of this one was a really good and immersive game, I already ordered the first game. I'm not expecting the first game to be any easier, but I will take my time with it, level up all gear and do as much stuff as I can before going to any major boss battles or such. Dragon's Dogma 2 is not a very complex game, but it's a little bit challenging. You have to figure out some stuff, but all the locations are marked well enough. The main story is not too long, but if you don't do any extra, then you might have to settle for bad or normal ending. I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't get the true ending, but I'm also not going to let this game waste my time like it's trying to do. I will much rather spend that time playing Dragon's Dogma 1. I recorded this outro long after I recorded the content, so at the moment I'm already playing Dragon's Dogma 1 and 13 Sentinels Edge's Rim. One game that I'm really looking forward to 2025 is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The first Kingdom Come is one of my all-time favorites. I think that Switch 2 will be released in 2025, or at least we will get some games announced to it. That's why it's not gonna be a good year for originals, which I believe, who knows, maybe there will be some time to play older games in 2025 that I just haven't really had time to play. Personally, I don't like Christmas that much, and I wish the January would just be here already so everyone could go back pursuing their plans and routines. But anyways, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone who celebrates them, and I see you in the next video.